T, V, B, T, Q, B. Virtual teaching tips and tricks. Videos. Virtual teaching tips and tricks. Videos. Featuring Dr. Ryan Kennedy. Featuring Blake Reilly.
Hello and welcome. My name is Ryan Kennedy.
I'm Blake Reilly.
And we're in the Department of Health, Behavior, and Society, and we're going to spend a few minutes with you now talking about some of the things that we do to help make discussion forums online effective, productive, and fun for everyone involved. Blake's done some thinking here and distilling all the things that we've learned into 5 tips to support effective discussion forums. Okay, do you want to go through the high level stuff, Blake?
Yeah, so we've been kind of kicking around the idea of discussion forums for a little bit and how to make them more effective and how to get students more engaged since we're usually teaching an online class. So here are 5 tips that we've distilled down to create effective discussion forums. 1, choose a topic suitable for discussion. 2, clear instructions with an example post are important. 3, early instructor and TA responses are important, as well as curating the discussion throughout the days that it's open. 4, 2 deadlines, 1 for posts and 1 for comments, which is one of our favorites. And then 5, highlighting some posts in live talks or synchronous class.
That's it. So we'll just go into a little bit of detail for everyone here. We've got content in Courseplus where we really try hard to introduce the expectations for the discussion forum posts. We have clear instructions, and not only do we outline sort of what or why we want students to be doing what they're doing in the discussion forum, but also the expectations around grading. So they have clear ideas of how much detail to include for each aspect of a post.
Yeah, don't feel like you have to read the posts as we're going through here. We put in the screenshots, but we'll highlight the main pieces of each one. Or you could, pause it and super zoom in on the screen if you really want.
Get every detail from this. Okay, yeah. So we started out with maybe what's an obvious tip for a discussion forum. You want something that's suitable to a discussion, and so you want something to be focused around something that's going to lend itself to different opinions or different insights, or students bringing different sort of examples to the fore to share with their classmates. If you have a discussion forum that's really, asking students to, for example, reflect on a specific reading, you might end up with a lot of posts that are very similar. One of the techniques there is that you can have a post where you have it hidden so the students can't see their cohorts or their peers post until they have posted. And that's a way to get around some of the concerns around originality in posts. But I think if it's truly to be a discussion forum, you want to be picking topics where they're going to lend themselves to some back and forth across students. And some of the things that really help with discussions also are the considerations for how you set up your discussion forum online. We really, if you have the luxury of having smaller groups, this is obviously a great way to support meaningful discussion. We've tried different group sizes. I think we've agreed that 10 is an ideal number if you can get something around that. Or we go up to sort of 15, 16 certainly, but beyond that, it's really hard to have an opportunity for students to jump into the discussion forum and really catch up with everyone's different posts. Really spend some time thinking about your resources and how you might want to structure it in terms of size of the groups.
And I think the other nice thing about 10 to 15 is it does help with the uniqueness of posts. It helps with having the same thing come up over and over again as well.
That's right.
2 here, tip number 2, clear instructions with an example post. You can see with the instructions that we have here, we have it formatted with a 1, 2, 3, 4 format. So you'll see in the next slide that we also post the example post with the 1, 2, 3, 4 format. And that's identified by the yellow lightning bolts here. The other thing that we really like to do is say how many points each section of the discussion forum is. And Ryan, if you go back a slide, you can see in the red boxes, our discussion forum is out of 10 points. So in the red boxes here, you can see how many points each section is. So when students are going along, they can kind of count up their points as they go, which we've heard that they like as well in terms of it being very specific.
And this post, the purpose of doing an example post is really to give the students a cadence or insight into the relative length that we're expecting. We'll still get students that post a novel and some students that post something that looks more like a text message, but this is helpful for you and for the teaching assistants. This level of detail will make it easier to grade. It will make it less frustrating for students. And so a little bit of extra work in the upfront for your discussion forums will help all parties involved. Okay, number 3, early instructor TA response and curation of the discussion. This might sound like it's a lot of work, but it's I think it saves some work in the long run as well. If you've got some students out of the gate that are participating in the discussion forum and they're responding in ways that are not consistent with what you want, maybe they've missed the mark entirely. If you're early on, either the teaching assistants or the instructional staff, you can redirect them. And we always give students who are early to post, if they've missed it, they can repost. And when we're grading things, we will consider that instead. The TAs can really help sort of guide discussion too. In some cases, the students are really good at posting and engaging and really, but in some cases, it does benefit from some participation from the TA to get people moving and we really emphasize that we hope that students will make their original post and their responses, but if someone has responded to your original post, to the expectation being that they would respond in some way as well.
Yeah, and something that we always get comments on in the course is they love how active the TAs and the course instructors are in the discussion forum. They like to see that someone is listening because I think often they post to discussion forums and there's not a comment from the faculty or TA. And they're sometimes like, oh, do they even read this?
Yeah, it's remarkable how often it's commented on. And so for a little bit of effort, you can really, I think, improve the experience of the students in the discussion forums. And we, in an other attempt to get better participation, we've instituted a double deadline. So we often ask students to make a post into the discussion forum, but also we set minimum number of comments we ask them to make on their classmates' posts. And so we tend to split it up so that you might have your original post due sort of midweek, maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, and then we'll ask them to make comments maybe 3 or 4 days later so that they've had a chance to get their post up, but then there's space for them to go through and read their classmates' posts. And this also supports students not just responding to the first 2 posts that they maybe had in the class. Those students might get overwhelmed with trying to respond to everyone's posts, which is not fair just because they were early out of the gate to get things online.
Yeah, which was part of the reason why we did this, because we found on the discussion forum, the first 2 students who posted would have, in a group of 15, would have 10 to 12 person respond to them. And then the other, there'd be 12 to 15 posts with no responses as well.
Yeah, which is not fun for anyone involved. Okay. And then speaking of fun, we really try to pay attention to the discussion forum content and highlight some of the really valuable discussions that we see happening. And especially in a class where there's multiple discussion forum groups, you can use some of your live talk time, or if you're running synchronous classes, to share some of the insights or discussions with the class as a whole. And this is really nice if you're a student that made some brilliant insight. If you get a spotlight shine a little bit on your contributions, it can be fun. Some of the things we do, we have a discussion forum post where we ask students to identify like a PSA or a behavior change video. And so we will actually have the TAs nominate what they thought was their best video in their group. And we have opportunities during these live talks to share and have students vote through the polls what they think should be the reigning champion that year. But which really just is an effort to sort of bring what was a static discussion forum content into the live classroom.
Yeah, and it's really fun. The students have a great time bringing it into the live talk, because then it's just not on the board, and they're actually interacting with it and with us.
Yeah, so we want to wish you good luck with having lots of awesome discussion. Remember, it's called a discussion forum, not a post something in a singular space forum. And we hope that if you find other tricks that are helpful, maybe add them to the comments below.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much.